Okay, before we go on with our next topic, I again want to do one of the homework questions. This time exercise 10.3, question 9, and you can see how you're tracking. So Peter made 15% profit when he sold some pine bookcases he had made, taking all costs into account. If he considered only the cost of materials, it would have been a 55% profit. The sale price was $3.72 each. How much did the materials for a bookcase cost? So let's write down what we know from the question. So profit is 15% of the total cost. Profit was also 55% of the materials cost of materials. We also know that the sale price was $372, and that equals 100% of the cost of materials plus that profit. Now, I've chosen that one because the question actually asks us to find how much did the materials cost. So that's what we're interested in here, 55% cost of materials. So we want to find out the cost of materials. So because I've written it like that, I've now got one unknown. Now it's not, we can collect the unknowns we've got together because they're the same, but I'll end up with a statement, a mathematical statement that is one unknown, which allows us to find, and it's the one we're after. 155% the cost of materials. So of course we can now just get the cost of materials on its own. So it's currently multiplied by 155%. So we just need to divide by 155% on both sides. And I'm going to flip them over so that my unknown is on the left-hand side. So the cost of materials here equals 372 divided by that 155%, which is the same as 372 divided by 1.55 as a decimal, or $240. And of course we would expect our cost to be a lot less than our sale price, which it is in this case. Okay, so what we're going to work on today is constructing a budget. Now, budgets are used in real life everywhere. Companies use them, individual people use them, and you can certainly use them to control your spending and also to control your savings. So that's why people use them. They're really useful. They're a good predictive tool. So some vocab you need to know. Balanced budget is a budget where income and expenses are equal. They're the same, so they balance. And unit price is the cost or amount received for one single item. So it might be the cost per item, it might be the sale price per item, but it just means for one of each of those. So I'm going to work through a few different examples. So the first one is going to be an example that relates to an expenses only budget. So you don't have to have income and expenses in your budget. It depends what you are trying to find out with your budget. So this one is an expenses only budget because we're trying to figure out how much it would cost to hold a birthday party for a child. So let's read through the question. So the costs for a child's birthday party are as follows. There's cake and a whole lot of other things. Some of them are listed complete amount for the entire party, and some are listed per child, and that's pretty normal, so we'll need to do some calculations to get totals. Okay, part A says prepare a budget for the party if 9 children are invited and there are 2 other children in the family beside the guest of honor, and we also have to calculate the cost of per child for the party. Okay, let's do that now. Okay, so a really good way to set out any budget is to do it in table format. But before we even start that, we need to figure out how many people are coming to the party, because a lot of those costs are per child. So we need to figure out how many children we are catering for. So how many children? It's going to be the 9 that were invited, plus the 2 family children, plus the birthday child. Of course, they need to be catered for as well. So in total, we've got 12 children that will be at the party. So I'm going to set it out in a table format, item on one side and the cost on the other side. And it's just as easy to go down in the order they were listed and work out the total cost that way. So let's do that. So the first item is a cake. Now I'm going to write it further over here to the right hand side, so we've got room for calculations for some of them, but this is just a certain amount of money per cake. We only need one cake. So $35 for the cake. Lollies and chips. Now this is a price per child. So it's $4.20 times the 12 children. So in this case, $50.40. Balloons, streamers. So it's a good way to just work down your information, because that way you don't miss any. $45 for the whole party. Soft drink, $3.30 per child, so $3.30 times 12. That's going to be $39.60. Pizzas. Now this says here we need 5 pizzas at $8.90 per pizza, so $44.50. We're having hot snacks at, oops, we're going to need that longer, $2.75 per child, so times 12. We're also having ice cream at $1.60 per child, $19.20, and we're having game hire, computer game hire, and that's just a cost for the entire party. So once you've got everything listed, just add them up. So the total budget for this party is going to be $304.70. Now part B asks us to calculate the cost per child for the party. So it's simply a matter of taking that total and dividing it by the number of children who are coming. So $304.70 is the total, 12 children, around $25.39 per child, which is probably a pretty normal cost for a child's birthday party. Seems like a lot, but that's probably pretty right. Okay, so that's an example of an expenses only budget. So what we're going to look at now is an example of an income only budget. So there's no reason you can't do that. And this might be done to try and determine how much money you might make from something. How much we're going to make. Is that going to be worth our while? Would we bother? Okay, so let's have a look. So a cake stall run by a P&C association is stocked with cakes donated by parents at the school. So that means there's going to be no cost. We're just going to make some money. The coordinator of the stall decides to price the cakes as follows, and there's a whole lot listed there. And this is how many, they've given us information about how many they think they're going to sell, work out a budget to predict the total takings. That means income. So again, a table is a really good way to do it. So the item would list first how much we're going to sell it for, the number we're going to sell, and then the total amount, and then we can add all of that up where we need to. Okay, so I'm literally just going to write a list. So large sponges, just a type of cake. We've got a medium sponge. We've got fairy cakes. Fairy cakes used to be the pretty standard name for cupcakes, but it's changed over the years. We've got large fruit cakes. We've got medium fruit cakes. And we've got slices. Okay, now selling price. So they've again been given to us. So let's write them down. So the order, I guess, doesn't matter as long as you stick with the same order for each column. Now I'm going to convert the slices price to dollars straight away so that we're working with the same units, because that's really important that we do that. So again, write down the number of items we think we're going to have. Make sure they link up to the right place. Now, the amount is literally just a matter of multiplying the selling price times the number sold to work out that amount. So I'm only going to do the first one like that. I'm sure you guys can follow along. So it would belong to each row in exactly the same way. Multiply the sell price times the item sold. Okay, so once you've done that, you just want to add that up. So $712.50 equals the total takings expected from this cake stall. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to finish this recording here and I will do another one for the last example.